Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show. Meet the trusted experts who will give you straight answers and will help guide you on the path of later life care.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Vitality Revolution. I am Dr. Shawn Weiss, President of Senior Health and Wellness Group, as well as Balanced Functional Wellness. And I am so excited to be partnered with Answers for Elders Network to do the Vitality Revolution, where we really are focusing on promoting improved quality of life, joy, and fulfillment over 50 as we age. And this Vitality Revolution is so important because we really are focusing on 8 principles of wellness. And today we are focusing on emotional wellness. And I'm very honored and excited to have our guest on today, Debra Kane. She is a certified life coach and founder of DAC Life Coaching. And we are going to be talking about growth mindset over 50. So welcome to Vitality Revolution, Debra. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you so much, Shawn. I'm grateful to be here and I'm excited too. Can't wait.
Great. Tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of your story and how you came into doing life coaching and how that brings you joy and fulfillment.
So I got into life coaching because when I was growing my family, my kids were, little, and soon as they're growing, I just knew I've been a work-at-home mom and work outside the home mom. So I've been on both sides, and I knew that I was happy with my life and something was missing. From that, it just led me to search and search and search, and I was lucky enough to find a great coach and I found what I wanted to do. I was always been a teacher at heart. I was a teacher also, preschool teacher and other things. So I love teaching, and it just progressed to helping moms to not waste all the years that I had wasted, and that led into the coaching that I do today, which is starting with mindfulness and a lot of mindset work. And from there, we take it to whatever path. It's very customized for each individual. So we take it on whatever path that person wants to go in, whether that's, to start a business or pursue goals, different hobbies or help with relationships, whatever it is, we just take it on their path and go from there.
I think that's wonderful. And I have been working in the field of senior health and older adults for over 26 years. And whether that's with skilled care, with nursing, with therapy, with cognition, with exercise routines, you name it. I have been doing it for over 26 years. And I find that what happens, and now that I'm 54 and my kids are grown and they're out of the house and they're getting on with their lives, that it required a kind of a mindset shift, right? And I can think, okay, well, and I still work outside the home. I still have a couple of businesses, but I had to stop and think about, gosh, what about my joy? I want to have my optimal health. I want to really make sure I'm doing chronic disease prevention. I want to make sure that, I have my own set of goals now, that the focus maybe isn't so much on raising the kids anymore, right? So once we get 50, I think a lot of things change from a physical health standpoint and an emotional health standpoint. So from an emotional health standpoint, I find that as we navigate what we're going to be doing once we get 50 years old and approach retirement and all the stresses and changes and life events that happen, how do we adjust our mindset to continue growing? Some people think, oh, it's just, I'm there, raise my kids and I'm going to retire and it's all done now, but that's not the case. I mean, if you don't have a growth mindset, you could get stagnant. You could be depressed. You could kind of not have fulfillment and just kind of feel lost, right? So talk to me a little bit about when you work with older adults, what are you seeing them come to you with? What are their major issues?
So the major thing really is exactly what you're talking about, which is that either their kids, it could be, depending on their age, it could be either their kids are out of the house, that empty nest syndrome, and they don't know what to do, just them and their husband.
Right.
Or, right? What are we talking about?
We have to look at the walls all day.
One of those. Or they could be retiring or thinking about retiring, and they're either, they're excited to retire, they're afraid to retire because what are they going to do? I know my husband is thinking about retiring next year, and it scares me to death. It does, because it's him. It's like not me. I know what I would do, but I'm like, what is he going to do? So it's
Right.
like there's a lot of different things. And also, sometimes you have, older kids that grow up, they get married, they have kids. You might have grandkids already, you might not, but it's a different feeling. It's a whole different thing. And I know, at least for me, probably, let me ask you if this happened to you, but when I was a young mom, whatever I thought was going to happen when I was old, is not happening. It's not the same at
Yes.
all. It's a very different thing now. So you have to, thankfully, with what I do with my work, I was able to, figure that out and look into what to do about it. How do you, adapt now to a house that's quiet, or, no more running around kids, no more homework, or even just no more chaos of even teenagers in the house or whatever.
Right.
And then if you do have a spouse who is retired or retiring, and that can be an issue because a lot of times they don't know what to do with themselves either. So they might, be piddling around. And it's a lot of, what do we do with our life now? And it doesn't have to be a major overhaul. It can be if you want to. I mean,
Right.
society makes us think that as we age, there are things we can't do. I don't believe there's anything we can't do. If you are healthy and feel good and it's safe for you, I don't see any reason why you can't do it. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Right.
And if you have a growth mindset, which we're going to talk a lot about, it's the most helpful thing for you, because a growth mindset really is you believing that you can learn new things. Your abilities are, maybe they're lesser, because yes, when you're growing up, kids have tons of neuroplasticity in their brains and they're learning faster and it's easier. It is, that's true. But you have neuroplasticity your entire life. Does it slow down? It does. Probably around 60, it slows down a lot. However, you still have it. And if you enhance your growth mindset, you're going to be better off by allowing yourself to be happier in knowing that you can do hard things, you can do new things. Your brain is literally, I won't get too sciencey, but your brain is literally, as you know, rewiring itself when you learn new things. And it will do that at 60 or 70 or
Yes.
80.
It's
If
still
you
possible. Right.
exactly.
And I've
Exactly.
encountered a lot of older adults who, when they reach 50, 60 years old, they've taken on kind of new careers, or they've gone out and like, hey, I put this off for 20 years, but I'm going to go learn it now. I'm going to start doing yoga, or I'm going to work again. Right. So there's some people that at 50 years are going to re-enter the work field after they've raised their kids, and they want to find something to where they can utilize their strengths that are going to stimulate their mind, promote cognitive well-being, and again, find something that's going to make you fulfilled. So let's talk a little bit about, how do we get to have a growth mindset? What do you feel the most important components of a growth mindset are at our age?
The most important part is the same at any age, but it is more important as you get older. And that is to believe what you're doing. It is a scientific fact. It's not something you have to believe. That's not, that's woo woo or something. It's a scientific fact.
Right.
But if you're not familiar with it, you have to train yourself to believe that it's possible. Because if you don't believe it, you can't trick your brain. You can trick your brain in little ways, like you can smile when you're not happy. It knows you're not really happy, but it thinks you're a little bit happy. But you
Right.
can't trick your brain into thinking that you can learn this new project at work, or you can learn how to pursue a new hobby, if you don't think you really can. If you're thinking, maybe I'm too old for this. Maybe you like to walk and you're thinking and you're healthy and it's safe, and you're thinking, maybe I'd like to, go hiking and take it a little bit more, exercise wise. I don't know if I could do that. Just very quickly, I'll tell you, my daughter, I have 3 kids, my middle daughter, who's very bold and will say whatever she wants. which is good and bad, said to me, I don't know, maybe about a year ago. It was kind of recent. She said to me, Mom, I was walking and I walk in the park. And when I walk, I do little, I've never been a runner, but I do little short sprints of running, like maybe a 1 minute run, sprints throughout my walk. If I do 5 miles, I might do 8, 9 sprints, whatever, very short. I don't know if I posted on it or just was mentioning it, but she said to me, I don't think you should be doing that, Mom. I thought she was talking about posting. I'm like, what are you talking about? It didn't even dawn on me what she was going to say. She just looked right at me and said, you're too old to be running. I was like, well, thank you for
You're like,
that.
child.
Yeah. So, and that's my own daughter. So, and society's not much better. Okay. They think there are things you can't do. Like, you can't climb up. Listen, I'm all for being safe, but if you know you're healthy and balanced, if you have a healthy lifestyle, you can do whatever
There's
you
no
feel
reason
like.
to not try.
Right.
Yes.
So that's the main important part is to believe what you can do and be realistic. I mean, if you have ailments, there's certain things you can't do. You can be realistic about that. Maybe you can't do one thing, but you can do something else. There's always an option. So
right. I'm 54 now, and I was a college athlete in 2 sports, and I'm super competitive. And as I've gotten older, and now I had 3 knee surgeries, but now I had to have a knee replacement 4 years ago. So I've already had that. So that has kind of knocked off the list several things that I just know are not in my future anymore. So, but I'm very active. So I have had to go and say, okay, what kinds of things can I do? Like
right.
golf and pickleball, things that I know that will be fun. And these are new things that I can try to be athletic and be active, but I know that I have limitations, and we deal with that. And I certainly have, being a physical therapist for over 26 years, I help people work within their limitations to an extent from a health standpoint, whether you have different chronic diseases, diabetes, or severe arthritic conditions for whatever reason, to still find routines that you can participate in and you can try. So you're exactly right. Super important to believe that you can do it, and not because otherwise you're going to have a roadblock up, right?
Yes.
If your mind's not believing, if you don't have the confidence in yourself, or because you haven't done it in so long, you're going to have a roadblock at some point, and you're never going to get there. So I do feel that's critical. So so we started with believe in yourself, or believe that you have the confidence to do new things. What else contributes to growth mindset over 50?
So doing things that are new for you is going to help. So let's say that you are an accountant and you just deal with business or whatever, or bookkeeping. And then you decide, I've not really done business taxes before, but I'm going to tackle that. Well, it might be a little bit new for you, but it's not completely new. You're already a good math person. So it's helpful in small ways, but what you want to do is learn things that are new to you that you haven't done before. So it doesn't have to be a big project. It doesn't have to be learning a new language, which is hard for a lot of people, including me. But it could be smaller things. Maybe.
And why is that important? Why is that important to do new things?
Because when you are doing new things, it's telling your brain, it's rewiring that brain. It's using the neurons to rewire and use that neuroplasticity that we want to keep going. So the more you do that, the more your brain is going to be used to it, and you're going to be able to do more and more. And it also motivates you when you do this. It brings you a sense of accomplishment. Okay, so you want to make sure it's always something new, and it doesn't have to be hard to figure out. It doesn't have to be a task for you. It could be simple things, like you're talking about different exercises. Maybe take on something new. It will help to up your exercise program a little bit if it's just taking a longer walk, or doing 10 minutes more of your workout. But it also could benefit you to do a little bit different workout. Maybe, we know we should be doing strength training, so hopefully you are. But if you're doing strength training, maybe incorporate some yoga in there. Maybe learn to meditate. Maybe learn some breath work, which is more beneficial than people think. And it's easy. You can do it sitting down.
We do dual task training with our older adults to where we are doing a physical task and incorporating a cognitive task. So it's very similar where you are stimulating the brain and working on different pathways while you're doing a physical activity, which is going to improve mental capacity, recall, and things of that nature. So it's super, super important from a stimulation standpoint to stimulate your brain in new ways. And like you said, if you're taking a walk, what can you do, right? So that there are endless possibilities. But and I know we've talked a few other times, Debra, and I think it's important as we age too to understand that growth mindset also incorporates just attitude, right?
Yes.
If you are somebody who's struggling with that, if you are somebody who maybe is having life stresses or life events that have affected your health, that have affected your emotional health, physical health, and maybe you have depression or maybe you have a lot of worry each day, what kinds of things can we do every day that is going to get our mind in a positive place?
So one of the things that you can do is to reframe the way you think of certain things. Now, I'm going to skip that for a minute. I'll come back to it because I just wanted to mention it, but I'm going to come back to that because I think it's important to know that when you want to have a growth mindset, part of that is being able to adapt to different things. And the great part about this is that a growth mindset actually gives you more motivation to have a growth mindset.
So, yeah, because we get stuck
right?
in our ways, right? As we get older,
Exactly.
it's different than helping somebody that's 15 years old versus somebody that's 60 years old. We're set. We all know those people. We all can probably name several. Like they're just so set in their ways. They're stubborn. They don't want to do anything else, right?
I'm married to one of those people.
Yes.
I'm just saying. But yes, it really helps to know that change. In fact, if there's one thing that the audience, your audience, everybody's audience should write down, it would be change is always good. And people fight me on that. They're like, well, it's not always good. Maybe you benefit from it in different ways. I say change is always good for a reason. Whether it's good or bad, some change is bad, right? Depending on what happens, it could be, but it's always good in some way because you're learning from it. No matter what you're learning, which means you're growing from it. So change is not a bad thing. You just have to rework your mind to figure out if it's not something you want to do, how you can make it work for you.
Yeah, because change can be hard, but doesn't mean it's bad. Change is hard.
It's very hard. It's hard to do, but it's good for us. And no matter what, it's going to be good for you in the long run. And if you think of it in terms of a good leader, a really great boss or whatever, one of their skills that great leaders have is to know how to adapt to situations. They don't say, oh, this went wrong. What are we going to do about it? Now everything's changed. But they don't do that. They're like, this went wrong. Okay, what are we going to do to fix it? This is what we're going to do. If we can't fix it right now, we're going to move on to this, because they know that you have to make a decision and do something different to get ahead, to be successful. It's no different in our personal life. We have to do that to be successful in our personal life, which means happier. If you want to be happier, the best way I know to be happier, and who doesn't want to be happier, is to enhance your growth mindset. So doing little changes that are new to you, thinking more positively, and there's some tips that you can, do to help yourself think more positively. Things like we talked about embracing new skills. What about things like routine building? Because a lot of seniors don't want to think about routines anymore. Like, I don't need a routine.
I've done it already. Thank you for saying that. Yes, let's talk about routine for sure. It's so important.
So yes, you can do whatever you want, whenever you want. However, a routine is going to help you to be organized in your mind. And it's going to help you to know that, well, maybe I wasted, sometimes if you don't have a routine, you can waste days, maybe even weeks without knowing it. You might be doing stuff, but nothing really to move you forward to be happier or to pursue whatever you're trying to get to, or to even meet other people. So you want to make sure that you have some kind of a schedule to set yourself on the right path for what you want. let's say you don't know what to do, you don't want to go back to work. There's this thing that we used to do as young moms, most of us anyway, that we can do today, and that is volunteer. You can volunteer anywhere. You can volunteer at the schools or the hospitals or the nursery or the pet places. I mean, there's lots of places that you can volunteer, but choose something that you like to do, that you know you like to do, or you like to, or that you want to, see if you like, and volunteer there. You can teaching other people, even if it's whether it doesn't have to be a whole class of kids, you could be teaching one person at a time. You could be teaching somebody about a dog when they come to pick it up from the shelter. Whatever it is that you love to do is helping your brain stay healthy because you're teaching. Okay, you're other people are learning in different ways. So I am big on volunteering, routine building. Also, social connections get really strange when we get older. As we're younger, we have different kinds of connections, whether it's at work or, our kids' parents are usually our friends, right? And sometimes that sticks and sometimes it doesn't. I don't believe anybody has to have, 20 best friends, but as we get older, I do think it's more important to have friends, your own gender, whether you're a man or a woman, have friends that are that you can count on, that aren't just acquaintances, friends that you can pick up the phone. And it's hard to say that without, if you don't, I don't want you to feel bad that you don't. A lot of people don't. When they get older, those friends move away or grow differently, and you don't have the same compatibility anymore. There's places you can do when you're volunteering, when you're out in the community, when you're helping, even if you just make a run to Starbucks every day. I don't recommend that, but I don't know.
Well, I get the concept though.
But you want to be out talking to people is my point. It really, really helps. Nothing wrong with talking to yourself. I do it all the time. I don't believe that it's a sign of craziness. However,
I say my affirmations and manifestations out loud every single day.
Yeah,
but it's so important. And when you have, because it's a socialization piece, there are so many men's groups, women's groups, groups for veterans. There's so many support groups, and like you said, if you can do that, the volunteering piece and the mentoring piece, because that's going to bring joy and fulfillment into your heart, which is then going to improve your overall mindset. So I think that is so important to mention, because, and like you said, when we talk about older adults, you have some people who are more apt to, be resistant to change. And then you still have people who just can't wait to get going. And when you get to be over 50, 60 years old, you might not change somebody. Or if somebody who's never been terribly social their whole life, you're not going to suddenly make social, right? But looking at the effects of loneliness, the effects of not having that socialization in your life, that will help start making health kind of spiral out of control. It is a vicious cycle, and socialization is the key, right? So if you don't have that, we see much quicker declines in overall health as we age. That's just a medical fact. So even if it's being on FaceTime, there's so many ways now that if you're not leaving the home, or if you have medical conditions where you can't leave the home, there's so many ways that you can engage in face-to-face activity and conversation that is going to help your mind, that is going to help your spirit, right?
There are many ways, you're right. And talk about medical proof. It's also proof that having a growth mindset decreases your risk, as you're older especially, decreases your risk of depression, which is decreasing your risk of dementia. It's improving your cognitive ability. I mean, these are all real medical facts. They're not just one person saying it over another. And if you're not sure, I know you, I'm sure, are familiar, but if the audience is not sure of it and they want proof beyond you and I, tell them to look up, or I'll tell them to look up Carol Dweck, because she has really kind of coined the whole term growth mindset and fixed mindset. And she did a study way back in, I don't know if it was the 70s, I'm not sure of the decade, but she did this study with students. And from that, is what all the mindset work has stemmed from, for us to realize today that, we still have neuroplasticity. But that proves that her study proves without a doubt how what you believe matters, because she took two students, or was it two classes? It might have been two classes. I don't know. And the students from one class were given the same math test as another. I think they were middle school students. I'm not sure. Given the same math assessment as the other, but one, the teacher told them that it was a really hard task and she didn't expect a lot. And the other one told them that it was a hard task, but they've learned. She just gave them, more encouragement. The teachers got training before this, by the way, on how to do this. And sure enough, the kids who were all the same abilities, or, similar abilities, the ones that had the growth mindset teacher are the ones that got a much better score. And there was no other reason for it. Like, there was nothing. Kids were very diverse kids, but in the same, bracket. So, I mean, the proof is there, and it's been there for a long time. So, by us saying, sometimes when I say you just have to believe it, people think manifesting. It's not the same. This is real.
Yes.
Real. Yeah.
This is real. You have to back it up with action, right? And I think, as we get older, when we're talking about emotional health here, but being emotionally active as well as physically active, and finding ways to incorporate, new things, because, our routines are changing, and we have to find a way to start looking at what brings us joy, right? And how can we do that on a daily basis? And I think it's so important that you mentioned routine. I think it's important that you mentioned the aspect of belief in yourself, and believe that you can take on new things, that there's nothing too high that you cannot achieve. And also the concept of neuroplasticity, and why that is so important as we age, to promote that, which again is going to reduce risk of dementia and chronic diseases by staying, I say, emotionally active, right? And that you need to be emotionally active. So you have been wonderful. Yeah. Tell me, is there anything else? And I know with your coaching, if you're working with somebody, let's say 50, 60 or above, is there anything that you've encountered, or as in terms of like a pattern, or that you tend to see a ton when you're working with seniors?
Well, what comes to mind is that a lot of times it's the goal setting. And I don't stress like you have to have really giant goals. However, it's a great tool to use to have short and long-term goals for everybody. As we age, people resist that. They tend to resist having a goal. They're like, I don't want a goal. That's like, maybe they'll come around to the routine part, but they don't want to have like, what kind of goal do I need? They don't even know where to start. And if they start with me by mindset work, then it slowly comes around to, oh, I get it. I understand. This is why we have to set small goals. And a small goal could be that I'm going to, I don't know, work out a little longer, or I'm going to, go for a walk 3 days instead of 2, whatever it is. So your goal could be small. I recommend a lot of small goals, but there's no reason not to have long-term goals. A long-term goal doesn't have to be, 20 years down the line. A long-term goal for me sometimes is just, well, listen, in 3 months, I'm going to visit my daughter in Georgia, whatever it is. I mean, it could be as simple as that, so, and I recommend, if you're new to goal setting, to make these pretty achievable, not really too hard. They have to be a little bit hard to get the most benefit. But if you're new to it, it's going to help no matter what. And again, I say the same as I always say, reach out for help. Don't be afraid to, because people want to help you. People want to help us. Everybody, most people, I shouldn't say that. Most people are good, and most people do want to help. But you do need to reach out, because they are also, people are afraid. Or how many people do you know who've said, do you need some help? Can I help you? Can I do this for you? Even if you just have a cold and somebody's like, can I do this? You're always saying, no, I'm fine. No, I'm fine.
Right.
We
And
we have to learn to help each other and accept the help, and we'll get through it together.
we'll get through it. And I think it's so important. There's a reason why with the Vitality Revolution that we are starting with emotional health, because it really, to me, is the pillar of everything else. Because you could have lots of goals, or you can, whether it's social or physical or financial or intellectual, if your mind isn't right, it's going to affect your success in all of those other areas and all the 8 foundational principles. So I am so excited, and I think this has brought so much value to the audience, of how to start, having a growth mindset, working on your emotional health as we age, so that we can use all these other pillars and foundational principles to our favor to make our life so fulfilled, and bring joy. So I am thankful for you to be on here, Debra. And I know we're going to talk probably many more times, because I think we are in alignment on some of our philosophies, and working with older adults. And so it's been a joy talking with you. How can people find you if they want to see what you do and maybe set up an appointment?
So the best way to find me is to just go to the website. It is dac-life.com. You have to put in dak-life.com. On the website, you can reach me through all the socials, or my calendar link is there. You can set up a free call. There's some freebies on there if you're interested in them. There's a lot of changing things that go on there, but whatever, you could always reach out and ask questions and find me on social as well. So don't be afraid to do that, because again, reaching out
Could be
for help
life-changing.
It could be life-changing. There you go.
Exactly right. And you're going to be able to find everybody that's listening on Vitality Revolution on the answersforelders.com website, where you will have access to every week when we promote a different topic. And you'll be able to go in, and there will be links for you to get a hold of our experts and ask questions, or find some of the things on their website that might be of value to you. So looking forward to many more conversations, but thank you, Debra, so much for being on Vitality Revolution today.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Answers for Elders thanks you for watching the Vitality Revolution. Discover a blueprint to find a whole new gear in life, new awareness, and greater potential. Subscribe and be a part of our community. Answers for Elders is the North Star of navigating senior care, featuring content to help later life go a lot easier.